Warriors! Welcome back to Grace and Strength. I'm Becca, and thank you so much for joining me in video 3 of Foundations to Build a Handstand Practice, From Fear to Faith. In this series, we've been looking at what we need to know before we take ourselves upside down into a handstand. We've also been looking at biblical warriors whose stories have shown them facing their fears with faith. And today, we will be getting comfortable with feeling ourselves float, as well as looking at the story of how Daniel faced critics. Today's session will take you 30 minutes, and we will finally start getting upside down. You'll just need a mat and a wall, so get excited and meet me on your mat. We will begin kneeling. Go ahead and start to roll out the shoulders a bit. Just want to begin by warming up the shoulders and the wrists, especially today as I'm going to do some more upper body strength, learning how to become comfortable with float, that feel, that weightless feel that you begin to experience as you come into a handstand. Alright, let's go ahead and plant the left hand, bring the right arm up and around to grab the opposite side of your head. Inhale here, lengthen up, and exhale, gently pull the right ear towards the right shoulder. Breathe here for a moment. And as we begin to discuss today's faith warrior, Daniel, I just wanted to bring up that yes, Daniel was a faith warrior in the way that he battled for his life, but on a more relatable note, he also had to deal with critics, people who had a problem with him simply because he was religious. One more inhale here. Exhale, drop the hand, slowly bring the neck back up towards neutral. Maybe just do some gentle swivels in the neck here. Inhale. Let's bring the left arm up and around to grab the opposite side of the head. And exhale, begin to tilt the left ear toward the left shoulder, the gentle pressure of the left hand pulling down. You see, Daniel was highly esteemed by the king. The king knew that Daniel was faithful, was a hard worker, and he set Daniel high above many people in the kingdom. And like many people that we may know, people around him couldn't stand his light shining. They didn't like that he was in charge, that he was happy, that he was a hard worker, that he was being recognized. Maybe they were jealous. So they determined they were going to come up with a plan to bring him down. One more inhale here. Exhale, take the hand off of the head and bring the spine back to neutral. We roll the neck around here. On an inhale, we're going to lengthen up through the crown of your head. Bring both arms up to clasp the hands and rest them behind the head. Exhale here. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, begin to drop the chin towards the chest. Don't pull very hard, just gently allow the weight of your hands to pull down gently. Breathe here in this gentle neck stretch. So these men went before the king and tricked the king into creating an irrevocable rule or a law that everybody in the kingdom was only allowed to pray to him. They knew that if they were going to bring Daniel down, the one thing that was going to break him was his God. Something to do with his God. And when Daniel heard about the law, he continued as usual. He went back home to his upper room, opened the window towards Jerusalem, and prayed 3 times a day to God. And these men passed by and saw that he was still doing it and decided they were going to go tattle on Daniel to the king. And that's where they went. One more inhale here. Exhale, bring the arms down, neck back to neutral. Roll the shoulders, roll the neck out here. Now we're going to work our way down to a shoulder stretch. Inhale, wrap the left arm over the chest, right arm comes underneath to hook. Inhale, lengthen up through the spine. Exhale, gaze over the left shoulder. Let each inhale lengthen the spine, and each exhale tug your stretch a little deeper. The men went to the king and they said, "Did you not set a law that nobody could pray to anybody but you for the next 30 days? The king said, "Yes, I set that rule." And then the men said, "Did we agree that it was irrevocable?" And the king agreed. And they said, "Well, Daniel has been praying to his God." And then the king immediately knew what these men had done. They tricked him into punishing Daniel. One more inhale here. Exhale, release the left arm. Go ahead and swing the arms around, countering that stretch in the left shoulder. And then on an inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, wrap the right arm over the chest. Left arm hooks underneath. Inhale, lengthen up through the spine. Exhale, gaze over the right shoulder. Pull the right arm further in towards the chest. Continue to breathe here. Deep inhales, deep exhales. So as the king was trapped in this law, he had to follow through and throw Daniel into the lion's den. And the rest we know, that Daniel was in the lion's den and God had shut the mouths of the lions, that Daniel was completely unharmed. I'm going to leave that story there for you to process for a moment. One more deep inhale. Exhale, release. Just wiggle out the shoulders here. I'm going to come onto our hands and knees and do a gentle wrist warm up. Go ahead and keep the fingertips pointing towards the front of your mat. Inhale here, and exhale, begin to lean forward. Inhales bring you back to neutral. Exhales lean you into the stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Let's go ahead and turn the fingertips out towards the sides of our mats. Inhale. Exhale, rock left and right. Inhale, center. Exhale, rock. Inhale. Rock. And let's face the fingertips back towards the knees. Inhale here. Exhale, begin to sit back. Inhale, release. Exhale, deepen the stretch. One more inhale. Exhale, release back. Let's go ahead and bring the fingertips back to neutral. Here in a neutral tabletop, bring the big toes together to touch, the knees wide, and sit the hips back onto the heels. Walk the fingertips forward to gently rest the forehead on the mat in your child's pose here. Just breathing here in child's pose. Maybe rock the shoulders back and forth. When you're working in handstands, you want to make sure your shoulders are open, especially if at one point you want to start making shapes in your handstands down the road. One more inhale here. Exhale, melt you deeper. Inhale, begin to look forward. And exhale, maybe Slide the knees in slightly as you walk your fingertips forward into puppy pose. Bringing your chest towards the mat, fingertips active and forward. Maybe rest your chin on the mat or rest your forehead. If you've had no warm-up prior to this session, this may be a very deep stretch for you, so feel free to grab a yoga block and place it under your chest here between the chest and the floor. It might help you be supported in this pose. Let each exhale bring you deeper in the chest towards the mat. Good. Go ahead and walk the fingertips back, bringing your butt to rest on the heels, and then come on up to kneeling position. Just to roll your weight over to the left-hand side and swing the legs out straight in front of you. We'll warm up the hamstrings a bit here. So inhale, press the fingertips into the ground, lengthen long through the spine. Exhale, take a gentle forward fold. Don't feel like you need to spill all the way down yet. This is your first forward fold. We're quite cool in the hamstrings still. And then just begin to pedal each leg out here. Remembering to breathe. Inhales, yearning the heart forward. And exhales, melting deeper. Inhale through the chest. Exhale down. Good. Let's go ahead and release from your forward fold. Cross the legs, plant the palms, come through tabletop, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Breathe here for a moment. Maybe pedal the legs out or rock the hips from side to side, twisting here. Just whatever feels good. And now we are going to begin a series of grace flows. Each time we make our way to the front of the mat, I want us to float. And let me explain something to you for a moment. If you would like to stay in your downward dog, you can, or make your way to a child's pose. Now, if you remember in childhood, maybe there was a moment on the playground where a friend came up, or maybe not a friend, came up, and you see them wind up and start to punch towards your belly. Now, your reaction to that movement is to what? Tighten up. Maybe jump back a little bit, engage the core. You want to make sure whenever we are floating forward in downward facing dog, raise the right leg up towards the sky in three-legged dog. When you bend deep into that left leg and shoot the right leg up towards the sky, that moment when your momentum is bringing you forward, you want to counter that momentum with the motion in your core, where you pull back. You want to counter the momentum forward by pushing back, and that is what's going to bring you float, or possibly even some hang time. So I want you to remember that each time in our grace flows, when we kick from down dog, kick into your forward fold at the front of the mat. So let's begin. One more inhale here. Exhale deeper into your downward facing dog. Inhale, step the left foot towards center, right leg to sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, begin to bend into the leg. Inhale, shoot forward. Exhale, step down into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms to sky. Reach up. Maybe you remember your handstand position from the last video. Flex the hands. Gaze goes up. Ribs tuck in. Belly button sucks into the spine. Pelvis tilts forward. And legs magnetize together. Inhale here. Exhale, spill over the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant the palms. Exhale, shoot the feet back. Yogi push up. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Now we used the right foot to kick that time, so we're going to go ahead and switch sides. Inhale, step the right foot in, left leg to sky. Exhale, begin to bend. Inhale, jump and counter with the core. Plant down, forward fold. Exhale here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, circle the arms to the sky. Exhale, spill forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, shoot back, yogi push up. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. All right, we took one round on each side. Let's take another. Inhale, step the left foot in, right leg to sky. Exhale, begin to bend down. Inhale, shoot up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms up. Upward salute. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant the palms. Shoot the legs back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, straight into the second side. Step the right foot in, left leg to sky. Inhale, and three-legged dog. Exhale, bend. Inhale, jump. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, spill over the legs. Inhale, arms to sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant the palms. Exhale, jump back. Yogi push up. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, push back. Good. How is that feeling for you? I hope you're getting that feel of the jump, the momentum pushing forward as your core pushes back. And we'll practice this a little bit later in the flow against the wall, where you might have a little bit more confidence that something's catching behind you. Good. Now we're going to work a few tuck hops. So come on back down to your child's pose, and I'll explain here. A lot of times when you start to learn a handstand, the first position that our body goes to is a banana back. I'm sure you've heard of it, where your body is over here and your legs are behind you. Now, the reason that we do that is we feel like a handstand is strictly just getting our legs over our head. But really, a handstand, the main goal is to get your hips above your head. So what we want to do is not even worry about our feet yet, just to bring our hips up over our shoulders. So we're going to take a series of just some tuck hops forward from downward facing dog and up to a forward fold. It's going to look like this. Come into your downward facing dog. Instead of coming into a three-legged dog, inhale here. Exhale, begin to bend. On an inhale, we're going to push up and forward and hop to our forward fold. Okay, let's take a few of those on our own time. We're going to do 3 of them. Inhale, exhale, bend. Inhale, jump. Exhale, fold. Good. Let's reset. Inhale here. Exhale, bend. Look forward. Inhale, hop. Exhale, plant and fold. One more reset here in downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, begin to bend. Inhale, hop. exhale, set the feet down. Oh, good. You may not look like you're hitting your handstand or floating yet, but the point is you're getting that feeling of floating forward. And the more confidence you build in that pushing back momentum with the core, the more confidence you'll have when you begin to kick up into handstand. So just practice these several times over on your own before moving on into the next flow. From here, I want to get you another feeling of float by going into crow pose. So go ahead and plant the palms in front of you, about a foot. Now go ahead and start to rock onto your tippy toes as you start to bend your knees in towards the armpit area, resting on the backs of the arms. And on an inhale, you're just going to start to rock forward. And there's that moment where you think, oh, I'm leaving the ground, my face is going to face plant forward, but no. Your body takes over, your core engages, and you float here in crow pose. That's the same principle in handstand. Your mind is going to tell you, no, I'm going to fall, but your body takes over. That's why we're doing these. Go ahead and release. That's why we're doing these exercises, for you to get all these ideas of what things are going to feel like, so when you put it all together, your body knows what to do. Good. Let's go ahead and step back to downward facing dog. Bring our knees down and wide, and set our butt back to rest in child's pose for a moment. Great job today, warriors. We're going to do another exercise on floating. We're going to come into a supported headstand. I'm going to take a couple rounds in headstand just for y'all to get the idea of floating. So in headstand, we're going to go ahead and bring our knees together. Let's bring the elbows wide, about shoulder distance apart. Then you want to clasp your fingers together. Where that bottom pinky is, go ahead and tuck it up in front of and in line with the opposite pinky. Now where you see a little cup here with your hands, go ahead and plant the back of your head into those hands so the crown of your head is resting gently on the ground. Inhale here, we're going to tuck the toes, lift the hips, and this is that same principle that I talked about, where you just want to walk your feet forward until your hips are in line with your shoulders. And then lift one leg towards the butt, and then the other into a tucked, supported headstand here. Now you feel the wobbles. There's always that possibility of feeling like you're going to go forward, but trust your core. And stay here in tucked position for another inhale. And exhale. Begin to bring one foot down and then the other. And just set yourself back down into child's pose. Breathe in here. I'm going to take one more round of supported headstand with the option to bring your legs up to the full expression of headstand. Good. Let's go ahead and start to set up for our last supported headstand. Elbows under the shoulders, clasping the fingers. Tuck the back of the head into the palms. Crown of the head finds its stability on the mat. Inhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Walk the feet forward until your hips are over your shoulders. Then lift one foot, then the other. Breathe here. This is where you want to engage everything. Belly button sucks to the spine. Pelvic floor muscles engaged. Now begin to bring the legs straight up, magnetizing the legs together, glutes engaged. This gives you the feeling of what your lower body will look like and feel like in a straight up handstand. One more inhale. Exhale, slowly come back down through tucked position. And one foot down, then the other. Great job. Go ahead and set yourself back into a really good feeling child's pose. Let's breathe here. All right. Now that we've gotten the feeling of float, let's start to get upside down on our hands. We're gonna go ahead and take the same principle of those down dog kicks that we were doing, floating forward, but we want to practice that with our friend Paul the Wall. Come into your downward facing dog. Facing the wall, hands are about a foot, foot and a half away from the wall, and just tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Step the left foot in towards the center, right leg to sky. Inhale here in three-legged dog. Exhale, bend deep. Inhale, jump. And exhale, plant. Go ahead and reset. Second side. Right foot steps in, left leg to sky. Inhale here. Exhale, bend deep. Inhale, jump. And exhale, plants you down. Now, we're not necessarily trying to kick into the wall, because that might bring you into your banana back. The point of having the wall behind you is security. You're not going to feel like you can't kick as hard because you might overshoot and fall forward. With the wall behind you, you have the confidence that something's going to catch you if you were to overshoot. So let's take one more round. Come into your downward facing dog. Left foot steps in, right leg to sky. Inhale. Exhale, bend. Inhale, jump. Exhale, plant. Reset. Right leg steps in. Left leg to sky. Inhale. Exhale, bend. Inhale, jump. Exhale, plant. Good. I encourage you to take several more of those on your own. We're going to start getting upside down and on our hands through the rest of this series. So I really want you to start feeling the float, being comfortable with being upside down, and you're going to do that by utilizing the wall. Okay, so let's go ahead and just begin a gentle cool down. Let's make our way onto our backs. Go ahead and lay the left leg long, right leg hugs in towards the chest. Clasp the hands around the knee, maybe under the hamstring, whatever feels best for you. Breathing here. One more inhale. Exhale, drop the right knee over to the left hand side. Right arm opens to the right. And just settle into a supine twist. Actively pushing the right shoulder in towards the mat. Good, one more inhale. Exhale releases you out of supine twist. Bring the right leg down to the mat and the left leg into the chest. Just hugging your knee into the body here. A nice stretch in the left hip. One more inhale. Exhale, left knee, right side of the body. Left arm opens to the left. Gaze to the left fingertips. Yearn the left shoulder towards the mat. Good. Go ahead and release from Supine Twist. Want to hug the knees into the body. Tilt the tailbone down towards the mat. Just breathe here and hug the knees. Now bringing you back to Daniel in the lion's den, our faith warrior for today. Now Daniel stepped from fear to faith by caring more about what was right in God's eyes than man's eyes. Go ahead and release from your hug the knees pose. Bring the legs long. Shuffle your shoulders and your body into a comfortable corpse pose here. Daniel's faith was tested in the den of lions, but as always, God showed up. And through Daniel's story, God got the glory. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." Maybe you're going through a time where you're having to choose between pleasing God or people. Remember today's faith warrior, Daniel. Do not conform, but be transformed. We as Christians have a bigger story to tell than to just do what everyone else is doing. Choose to bring glory to God through your story and your trials. You're welcome to stay here in corpse pose as long as you want. But for now, let's make our way over onto the left-hand side. Push yourself up and meet me in an easy seated position. Thank you so much for joining me in video 3 as we learned more about the feeling of float, and we studied a little bit about how Daniel faced his critics and stepped from fear to faith. Join me in video 4 and continue practicing everything you've been learning in each of these videos. God bless you.